Around the world, in all the countries I've worked in, no matter what level of educational attainment people have, may not even be able to say back to you what I just did in characterizing this landscape of human interaction. People want those things, not, it's the human lifeblood that is the most important asset. Now, how did I get to safety at the top of my list in April of 1987? By observing that most organizations say our human beings are our most important asset, but in most places there's no proof it's really true. It's just something you say. So I'll tell you the numbers. In June the 15th of 1987, the lost workday rate across Alcoa's operations in 43 countries or so was 1.86. The rate in 1987 is staggering. It was 5. 5 out of every 100 workers in the American workforce had an injury at work that caused them to miss at least one day of work. Alcoa is 1.86, and the safety director was obviously really proud of how great Alcoa was. And so after I ended up praising Charlie DeMesha, who was the safety director, then I said to him, Charlie, I believe our goal, and I'm going to begin saying this all over Alcoa, so you should know. I'm going to begin saying that it's Alcoa's objective that people who work for Alcoa will never be hurt at work. So our goal is going to be 0. Even the safety director was startled by the idea that 0 would be our goal. And it was interesting. I found this about lots of different things, that there's kind of a litany of reasons why not, right? So the first reason why not is we can't afford it. In order to really get to 0, we're going to have to wrap every employee in some kind of a cocoon, and they won't be able to move their arms to do the work. So we can't afford it. Here's one that's really an awful one, and it has a lot of traveling power. Human beings are not capable of being perfect, and that means we're going to have human error no matter how much you don't like it. And so we can't get to 0 because people will do stupid things. Those are the 2 most potent reasons why not. So I said, I don't know how good the informal communication system is in Alcoa, but I hope you all have already heard that I believe we should achieve an incident-free workplace at Alcoa. And I want you to know I'm really serious about this. And so I turned to the supervisory crowd and I said to them, here's what I mean by this. As soon as we identify anything in our work environment that could lead to an Alcoa employee being hurt at work, I want to fix it. Right now. I don't want to budget it. From now on, we are not going to budget safety. We're going to follow our recognition of things that could harm people, and we're going to fix it. Oftentimes, the things that move organizations are unfortunately not happy stories. But after I've been there, about 3 months, I guess, there was an incident at an extrusion plant outside of Phoenix, Arizona. And the circumstance, this is a night shift. There's an 18-year-old kid who'd worked for the company for about 3 weeks, and he jumped over a protective barrier that was almost as high as this. It wasn't solid, but it was a high barrier between his observation space and the machine that was producing extrusions, and this particular machine had a boom on it, and so with every cycle, the boom would cycle, and the machine was subject to jamming. The aluminum material would get jammed in the machine, it would be hung up. And this kid jumped over the barrier and pulled the scrap material out of the action part of the machine, and it released the boom. It came around, hit him in the head, killed him instantly. He had a wife who was 6 months pregnant. 2 supervisors who'd been there 15 or 20 years watched him do it. Actually, they must have taught him how to do it, because I don't think he made it up on his own. They jump over the barrier and pull the material out of the machine. And so I got the whole executive crowd together all the way down to the plant supervisor level. And we reviewed the diagrams and the machine process and all of that. And when we were done with that technical part, I stood up and said to the assembled crowd, "We killed him." Yeah, the supervisors were there, but we killed him. I killed him. Because I didn't do a good job of communicating the dedication of the principle that people will never be hurt at work. And obviously, our recruiting process didn't do a very good job, or our measurement process didn't do a very good job of assuring that people who were in this chain believed that safety was the single most important thing, actually not a priority. This is my counsel to you. Safety should never be a priority. It should be a precondition. Like before you can get up and walk around, you have to breathe. Safety should be like breathing. It should be a precondition for organizational behavior. I tell you what, the people in the organization were stunned by the idea that they should accept personal responsibility for this death. They all regret it. I tell you, there was never more caring organization in my experience in a traditional sense than Alcoa. Every person that was injured or killed, they mourned. Believe me, they really mourned, and they regretted it and all of that, but they didn't understand. They were responsible for it.